Have you ever wondered what happens after we die? Is it just darkness, or is there something more? For centuries, the idea of reincarnation has fascinated and puzzled humanity. But what if the proof we've been looking for lies within the minds of children? Today, we're rediving into some of the most compelling and mind-boggling stories of kids who claim to remember their past lives. These aren't just vague feelings. They're detailed, verifiable accounts that have left scientists and skeptics scratching their heads. Are these fantasies? Or are we looking at genuine evidence of reincarnation? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see life, death, and everything in between. Let's start with one of the most famous cases in modern history, the story of James Leininger. From a very young age, James was obsessed with airplanes. But this wasn't just a typical childhood fascination. He would have recurring, terrifying nightmares of a plane crash. In his sleep, he'd scream, "Airplane crash on fire. Little man can't get out." His parents, Bruce and Andrea, were deeply concerned. During the day, he would play with his toy planes, crashing them into the furniture over and over. One day, while looking at a book about World War II, James pointed to a picture of the Battle of Iwo Jima and said, "That's where my plane was shot down." He started sharing incredibly specific details. He said his name was James Houston, he flew a Corsair, and his aircraft carrier was the Natoma Bay. He even knew the name of a fellow pilot, Jack Larson. His parents were stunned. They had no connection to the military and had never discussed these topics at home. Driven by curiosity and a desire to understand their son, Bruce began to research. What he found was astonishing. A pilot named James M. Houston Jr. had indeed been killed in action during the Battle of Iwo Jima. He was a pilot from the USS Natoma Bay, and his plane was shot down by Japanese anti-aircraft fire, exactly as young James had described. And yes, a pilot named Jack Larson had served alongside him. The details matched up perfectly, from the type of plane to the specific circumstances of his death. How could a toddler in Louisiana know these things? The family even traveled to a reunion of Natoma Bay veterans, where James was able to identify several of his former shipmates from old photographs. This case remains one of the most thoroughly investigated and documented accounts of a child's past life memories. Now let's travel to India, a culture where reincarnation is a widely accepted belief. This is the story of Shanti Devi, born in Delhi in 1926. From the age of 4, she started telling her parents that her real home was in a town called Mathura, over 100 miles away. She claimed her name was Lugdi Devi, and she had a husband and a son. She described her husband's appearance, his shop, and the layout of their home with incredible precision. Her parents initially dismissed it as a child's imagination, but her insistence and the emotional weight of her stories were hard to ignore. As she grew older, her memories became even more detailed. She spoke of dying 10 days after giving birth to her son. The story spread, eventually reaching Mahatma Gandhi, who set up a commission to investigate her claims. The commission took a 9-year-old Shanti to Mathura to test her story. As soon as they arrived, she began to guide the carriage, confidently directing the driver through the streets she claimed to know from her past life. She pointed out landmarks and recognized people, including a man she identified as her past life husband, Kedar Nath. Initially, Kedar Nath denied knowing her, but when Shanti shared intimate details about their life together, details only a wife would know, he was overwhelmed with emotion and admitted she was telling the truth. She even correctly identified her son from her previous life, who was now a young boy. The commission's official report concluded that her case was genuine, a remarkable validation of her claims. Shanti Devi's story isn't just a family anecdote. It's a piece of recorded history that has been studied and debated for decades. But what about cases closer to home, in cultures where reincarnation isn't a common belief? Let's look at the story of Ryan Hammonds from Oklahoma. At the age of 4, Ryan started having vivid nightmares. By age 5, he began telling his mother, Cindy, "Mom, I have something to tell you. I used to be somebody else." He would cry, begging her to take him back to his other home in Hollywood. He spoke of meeting stars like Rita Hayworth, dancing on Broadway, and working for an agency where people changed their names. He vividly described a big white house with a swimming pool and mentioned a man named George Raft, a famous actor from Hollywood's golden age. Ryan's parents were devout Christians and had no idea what to make of these strange pronouncements. Cindy, hoping to find some answers, secretly checked out library books about old Hollywood. One day, while flipping through a book, Ryan pointed to a photo from the 1932 movie Night After Night and said, "Mama, that's George. We did a picture together." Then, pointing to another man in the photo, he said, "And that guy? That's me. I found me." The man he pointed to was an uncredited extra. This led them to Dr. Jim Tucker, a child psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, who specializes in studying children with past life memories. Dr. Tucker's team began a painstaking investigation. With the help of a film archivist, they eventually identified the man in the photo. Marty Martin, a former movie extra, who later became a powerful Hollywood agent. The details of Marty Martin's life matched Ryan's claims with shocking accuracy. Martin had indeed danced on Broadway, traveled extensively, and lived in a house with a swimming pool. He even died in a hospital, a detail Ryan also recalled. This case is particularly significant because the past life individual was not famous, making it nearly impossible for a young child to have learned these details through normal means. These stories raise profound questions. How can a child know such specific, verifiable details about a person who lived and died before they were born? Skeptics often suggest explanations like cryptomnesia, which is when a person forgets the source of a memory and believes it's original. Perhaps the child overheard a conversation or saw a documentary and absorbed the information subconsciously. Another theory is parental influence, where parents might unintentionally lead the child or embellish the story. However, researchers like the late Dr. Ian Stevenson and his successor, Dr. Jim Tucker, have spent decades meticulously documenting thousands of these cases around the world. They have developed strict protocols to rule out fraud and other conventional explanations. In many cases, the families had no prior knowledge of the people or places their children described. Some children even have birthmarks or birth defects that correspond to wounds or injuries on the body of the deceased person they claim to be. For example, a boy in Turkey was born with a malformed ear, and he remembered being shot and killed on that side of his head. Investigation confirmed that a man had indeed died that way. Consider the case of a young boy from Thailand named Chanai. From a young age, he insisted that he was a teacher named Bua Kai, who had been shot and killed while riding his bicycle to school. Chanai had two distinct birthmarks on his head, a small round one on the back and a larger, irregularly shaped one on the front. He claimed these corresponded to the entry and exit wounds from the bullet that killed him. His grandmother, who remembered hearing about the murder of a teacher named Bua Kai years earlier, decided to investigate. She found Bua Kai's family, and they confirmed the story. Bua Kai had been shot from behind. The autopsy report confirmed the locations of the bullet wounds, which matched Chanai's birthmarks perfectly. These physical connections add another layer of complexity that is difficult to explain away. It's one thing for a child to have memories, but to have physical markers that align with those memories is truly extraordinary. It challenges our understanding of the connection between mind and body, and suggests that perhaps some form of consciousness or information can be carried over from one life to the next. So, what does this all mean? The evidence presented by these children is not definitive proof of reincarnation, but it is deeply compelling. It forces us to keep an open mind and consider possibilities beyond our current scientific framework. For the families involved, these experiences are life-altering. They often find comfort in a sense of continuity, a belief that love and connections are not severed by death. For the rest of us, these stories serve as a powerful reminder that the universe is far more mysterious and wondrous than we can imagine. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, the sincerity and consistency of these children's accounts are undeniable. They offer a glimpse into a phenomenon that defies easy explanation. Perhaps one day science will be able to fully understand what's happening. Until then, these stories will continue to inspire awe and wonder, inviting us to ponder one of life's greatest mysteries. What are your thoughts? Have you heard of similar stories? Or perhaps experienced something unexplainable yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating mysteries. See you next time.